Have you ever known a perpetual victim? You know the type that is never wrong, but is always on the receiving end of some type of injustice. And they often use these injustices to play on your emotions. If you have one of these people in your life, or if you've had one of these people in your life, there are 3 things that you should know. And I'm going to cover those 3 things in today's video. Stay tuned. Welcome to the Common Ego community. My name is Christina, and on this channel we talk about emotional abuse, spirituality, self-development, and so much more. So if those topics sound interesting to you, go ahead and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell icon so you can be notified whenever I post new content. This way you won't miss a thing. So today we're talking about the perpetual victim, and this is a topic that has been requested many times on this channel, and I haven't covered it up until now because it's kind of a complicated topic. It seems very simple at face value. Perpetual victim is somebody who plays the victim, but when you start digging into it, it's a lot more complicated than that. So I tried to simplify it by breaking it down into these 3 things that you should know about the perpetual victim. What they are really are 3 things that could be true if you have a perpetual victim in your life. So if you've identified that there's somebody in your life who is always playing the victim, one of these 3 things is going to be true. So the first thing that could be true is that the person who is the perpetual victim is truly manipulating you or trying to manipulate you. If you're watching this video, you're probably wise to it by now, and you probably aren't allowing yourself to be manipulated to the point where maybe you have before. So this perpetual victim could be completely just lying. They could be fabricating these stories to play on your emotions because they know that it'll work. They know that if they can get you to feel sorry for them, that they can get whatever they want. They could completely be just a pathological liar. Or the stories could be true or have some kernel of truth. Maybe they're exaggerating real things that happened, or maybe really bad things did happen to them. Having bad things happen to you does not make you a perpetual victim. Just because bad things happen to you doesn't mean that you're going to go on to abuse other people. The perpetual victim personality that we're talking about here is an abusive person. So this person, if they have had terrible things happen in their life, and often that is the case, they will use it against you. So they will use it to play on your emotions, to trigger your empathy. Because, if you have empathy, you feel bad for people and you want to help them when bad things have happened. So you might hear a story from somebody's childhood and you might treat them differently because of it, because you know that they've been through such terrible things. And you feel bad about it, and you kind of understand why they are the way they are. You start making excuses for them because you can kind of start to connect the dots. You start understanding why they don't really act right. And this can help them get away with a lot of abuse. So again, to be clear, the perpetual victim isn't just somebody who has had bad things happen to them, and it's not just somebody who tells you about bad things. This is somebody who will bring it up very early on in any sort of relationship, or they will bring it up continually. They will constantly remind you of this bad thing that happened to them. They are purposely doing it because of the response that it gets from you. So the second thing that could be true if you have a perpetual victim in your life is that they actually do not see their own role in anything they do. This type of person is very likely to be highly narcissistic, and they have trouble taking responsibility for any wrongdoing. These are the types of people who will never admit they're wrong. So this person could also be manipulative. They can also use their victim story to manipulate you. But that's not necessarily a given. You could know nothing about this person's life or the bad things that have happened to them. And they can still play the victim whenever anything goes wrong. So what I'm talking about here, it encompasses the perpetual victim mentality, but it also covers blame shifting. So this person cannot take responsibility for their own actions and their own role in things. So they will act in a way that is abusive. They will act in a way that's not okay. Maybe they're guilty of gaslighting, of word salad. Maybe they're constantly putting you down. But they do not take responsibility for their role because they believe that they are justified in everything they do. So in their eyes, they have done no wrong. And when you react, that's when they can recognize abuse. You could do the same exact thing that they did to you, and they won't see that they did it. They won't see that what they did was wrong. They won't see it as the same thing. You can bet that will be true. They will not, even if it's exactly the same, they will not see it as the same thing. You were wrong and they were not. So I want to throw out a little analogy here to help kind of drive this home. So imagine you go to work one day and you find out that this coworker that you have to work one-on-one with is sick. And this example obviously happens before COVID because this wouldn't be allowed today. But let's just say that person is sick. And they know they're sick, and not only do they know they're sick, they think they probably have strep throat, and they're going to the doctor right after. And you're stuck in a room, just you and this person all day. Now, not surprisingly, a few days later, you get sick. So you have three choices here, right? You can call in sick and go to the doctor. You can stay home and not go to the doctor, or you can ignore it, call it the other person's problem, and go to work and infect other people. Strep throat is a bacterial infection and it's contagious. And if you don't get it treated, it could lead to much worse things. So of course, the answer is going to be clear for anyone. Doesn't matter how narcissistic you are, you're going to go to the doctor. But if you think of it in terms of emotional pain, somebody else gives that to you. They hurt you. And in that case, you are the victim of that person. Just like in the work example, if you get strep throat from somebody else because they were reckless and irresponsible, you're a victim of their irresponsibility. But once you have it, it's yours. So you have that strep throat, and now it's yours to take care of. It's yours to treat or not. And if you don't treat it before you get out there in the world, you're going to spread it to other people. But the same can be said for emotional pain, because as we know, hurt people hurt people. The people who are in the most pain are the people who inflict the most pain. And those are also the people who aren't dealing with their pain. Those are the people who are pushing it down and suppressing it. But not everyone who's hurt, not everyone who's carrying around that pain is going to inflict massive amounts of pain on other people. They're not going to leave a path of destruction in their wake. And I believe this has a lot to do with empathy. If you have a lot of empathy for other people, you're going to do what you can not to hurt other people. And you're probably going to start taking responsibility for the times that you do hurt other people because you feel bad about it. And if you don't have empathy, then it's going to be easy for you to shift blame and play the victim all the time. And you're going to believe it. It's everyone else's fault that you feel the way you do. And it's everyone else's fault that you act the way you do. So the perpetual victim is actually very dangerous. And I think that there's a lesson in it, though, for all of us, even if that's not you, even if you're not the perpetual victim, even if you're not blame shifting. The pain, much like an infection, doesn't just go away on its own. We have to face these things and we have to address them in order to have healthy interactions with other people. Okay, so the third thing that is true, if you know a perpetual victim, is something that some of you are not going to want to hear, but I have to say it anyway. I have to say it. The third thing that could be true if you have a perpetual victim in your life, especially if you have a lot of them, it's a sign that you maybe should start looking at yourself. So the third thing that could be true if you have a perpetual victim in your life is that it could be you, that you could be the abusive person. And unfortunately, most people who are the abusive people aren't going to recognize that. They're just going to get angry and leave some sort of hateful comment and move on. But it needs to be said because this is the other side of that coin. Somebody who is abusive might think they have a perpetual victim in their life, because that victim is calling out the abuse. And they keep calling out the abuse, but it doesn't change, so they keep doing it. So the abusive person thinks, well, enough already. You keep saying this, why are you such a victim? And they hate you for being a victim, but they don't see what they're doing to you. So I don't think this is going to apply to most of this audience, maybe none of you. But I did want to point out that people who are abusive often will think of other people as perpetual victims, whiners, complainers. And that's not always the case. Sometimes just the act of calling out somebody's bad behavior can get you labeled as a victim. It is a complicated topic, and I think it's important to look at it from all angles, to look and see what your role in all of this is, if you have a perpetual victim in your life. If they're an abusive person, if they fall into all three of these categories, then the answer should be pretty simple. It's up to you to decide how much of this you want to allow in your life and whether you want this person to remain in your life. So I hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, please let me know by hitting that like button. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, be sure you're subscribed, and I will see you next time.